Boop dee boop 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 boop. Hi, I'm Mark Phillips, and I'm here with Carole with an E for the third episode of the Wineoceros show. Today's episode is about, I think I almost kind of slurred my words right there. Today's episode, that's what I meant to say, is about the proper serving temperature for wine. Now, before I get into that, though, I have a couple of questions for you. One, I was in the grocery store parking lot today, and I kind of thought of two things. One, I saw an older couple, probably 70 years old or older, walking into the grocery store, and it was the sweetest thing to witness. Because why? Why do you think? Absolutely. But why don't younger couples do that? I mean, I haven't seen anyone, it's so rare to see younger couples, younger than 70, and maybe it's, I don't know if it gets more rare the younger the couples are or not. I really haven't thought that through. But you see so few people holding hands. And it's so sweet. And why wouldn't you do that? I agree. No, I mean, I think that should be kind of like a compact in a relationship, is that when we're out in public, we're going to hold hands, even if you don't want to. Does that make any sense? Should you do something even if you don't want to? Well, I mean, anyway, I think people should hold hands more. And should I hold your hand down here? Oh no, okay, sorry. We could try that one time, holding hands during a show. Anyway, secondly, I got in there with a shopping cart, came out, loaded the stuff in my car, and then, of course, for me, the big game is you return the shopping carts not to the store, but to the little holding areas, maybe or two shopping carts wide. I love to push the shopping cart from as far away as possible to see if I can get the shopping cart into that area. That is so much fun. And today, and of course, if there are cars on either side where it could go wrong, yeah, I won't do it. But if there's like an opening there, I can, I'd love like 20 feet away or something like that to shove it as hard as I can and hope it tracks. And, I've been using the shopping cart, by that point for 20, 30 minutes going through the store. So I know kind of how it's working already. I know if it's a good candidate for a long push into the holding area. Now, do you do the same thing, or do you walk it all the way right up to the, and snug it right in with another shopping cart? What? 3 years? How is that even possible? Wow, that's so unbelievable to me. Not having used a shopping cart in 3 years. That's just nuts. Nuts. Well, I get the idea of the home delivery and pickup. Curbside pickup is a good thing, especially right now with the whole coronavirus stuff going on. But wow, I just love going to the grocery store and going down the aisles and picking out stuff and produce. How do you really trust the people to pick the produce out for you? I don't know. That's just nuts, Carole. So do you ever go to a grocery store, or you must have gone, last minute, you don't have this and you go over and, all right, well, yeah. I guess the handheld baskets is good enough for a last minute trip. Wow, I just can't get over that. Not going, well, you've gone to grocery stores, but not using a shopping cart in 3 years. That's, I just wonder how many other people have done that. Okay, so the last thing is, that's just going to make me stop and think for a while. This is the fun one, I think, here. I think you'll probably agree with me on this. Do you ever buy cheese, just like not nice cheese, just the big bulk cheese, in the big packages like the 1 pound or 2 pound pack, whatever like that, and just eat the cheese right from well, that's not gross. Why is that gross? I mean, you eat the cheese no matter what. Why would you care if you ate it off the top? I mean, it's just for someone. You know, the person eating that cheese, who like the person who I borrowed this cheese from, would be eating it by his or herself. So they're not like sharing. I mean, that's silly. But just okay. No, as I said, no, I borrowed this. I certainly wouldn't do that. Okay, I'm going to move that off to the side. Anyway, as I mentioned, today's episode's about the proper serving temperature of wine. And if you viewed the first two videos or whatever, one of the two at least, you would know that Carole went to school as a sommelier. So you know this, and I'm sure you have an opinion. So what is a proper serving temperature for red wine and white wine? As I thought. So just that one temperature for red wine and that one for white. Yeah, see, this is where we're going to go. Disagree again. While 68 for red and 50 for white, is recommended. But why? I mean, who recommended that? And if someone at home doesn't like that, like a white wine at 50 is not cool enough. So refrigerator is around 37 to 40 degrees typically-ish. And if you drink the white wine right out of the refrigerator at, let's say, 40 degrees, just for a round number, that'd be wrong. Yeah, that's not right, Carole. And so let me explain my view on the temperature of wine. One, unlike a traditional approach that Carole espouses to, I think whatever temperature you want to drink a wine at is okay with, enjoy it, is right. If you want to put ice cubes in wine, have you ever done that? I didn't think so. Yeah, it's okay. Because, and white or red, I don't care. I've, Maura, if you're watching, back in, Scottsdale. Ice cubes all the time. Chuck number 2, ice cubes in his white wine all the time. Every glass almost is ice cubes. And so, well, I don't know how you can say it's wrong. Why? Who says it's wrong? No, Carole, stop. So, my point is, drink wine any way you want, with ice cubes or not, at any temperature you want. Now, having said that, I do want to explain what happens, though, when you do that. Drink wine at different temperatures. So, on a cold, masks the flavor of wine. Cold masks the flavor of any beverage. The funniest and the perfect analogy for this is Coors beer. On that can that they have, where there's like a little gauge on the side of the can that turns blue or something when the beer is cold enough. What they're basically saying is, make this beer cold enough so you can't taste the beer. And that's what's so funny. Of course, people who appreciate beer, it used to be the people like, folks in England or Germany where they really love their beer, but now we have a great beer community here in the United States too. They will not drink beer ice cold because it masks the flavor. And if you're drinking a really nice beer, why you wouldn't be able to taste anything. You might as well just be drinking Coors instead of something more special, because you won't get any flavor out of it. And the same is with wine. If you chill it too much, and if you drink it right out of the refrigerator, it's very refreshing. I get it. And that's good. Again, I have no problem with that. I drink wine ice cold, depending on the wine. But just know that by drinking it ice cold, you're not getting really any flavor. Many inexpensive wines don't really have any flavor or complexity and all that you'd be missing out on. So who cares? Drink it ice cold. But if you really have a nice white wine that you're paying more money for and it's really nice, it would be a shame to drink it ice cold, because you wouldn't be able to get everything it has to offer to you. And that's the difference. So, too cold masks the flavor, too warm white wine at room temperature. Usually, one of the key things about white wine is the acidity, the crispness of it, the zestiness. And when a wine gets warmer, the acidity sensation goes down. So it becomes kind of flat tasting. So too warm on a white wine, I would say maybe 65 degrees or warmer. You're losing that, what you usually want out of white wine, that acidity. That zest. Well, no, that's not really word. Whatever. Yeah. So you can choose whatever you want to drink it at, but no, if you drink it really cold, not much flavor. Too warm, you'll lose the acidity on a continuum. But I think the sweet spot probably is 50, 55 degrees for a white wine. I would say 50, because most wines we're drinking are under $20, I would say, and that would be about the right. Red wines, I would say 65. So again, you say 68, not much difference right there. So what happens? When a red wine, you have, if they're fruit forward, like inexpensive, really fruity, like a Shiraz or a red Zinfandel, something like that, the cooler you have it, of course, the same rule applies. You lose flavor, but we're not talking about 40 degrees. We're maybe talking about 55 or 60 degrees. You're not losing all the flavor. But cooler temperatures to drink wine, it will accentuate the fruitiness in it, not the complexity, not the flavors, just the fruity part. And if that's what you want, then air down the lower temperatures. If you have, a real nice wine, I think 65, 68, what Carole said, is, the right temperature. We always hear red wine at room temperature, and that was written by the British, who wrote all the guidebooks on wine back in the 1600s. And of course, in England, at least back then, room temperature was a lot cooler than it is here. So 70, 75, which would be like room temperature for many people, or even warmer. Again, you can drink red wine at that temperature if you want. But what happens is when you get to that temperature, the wine gets a little unbalanced, and the tannin, that dryness in the wine and the alcohol sensation comes out more and almost can overpower the fruitiness of the wine. So again, up to you, but that's what's going to happen when you choose wine, drink wines at certain temperatures. I think the good, safe point, I think we kind of agree on that point about the mid-60s, mid to high 60s for most wines, unless they're really cheap wines and where you want to get the fruit, then I would drop down the low 60s or high 50s. Now, we haven't done this show yet, but sometimes about how do you save wine once it's been opened? And one of the ways we'll talk about in an episode coming up very shortly is whether it's white or red wine, it should go in the refrigerator. A wine will age 15 times faster on the counter than in a refrigerator. So if you want to have it last, you go in the refrigerator. So if you have a red wine and you don't finish the bottle, wimp. So do you ever drink a bottle of wine in one day? However long. Well, one day. It's like get up in the morning, have one glass of wine, have another glass at lunch, and then maybe the other 2 or 3 in the evening. I don't mean that, like over a day's period. Well, I don't know. Usually people just have it in the evening. Yeah. Well, you're petite, I understand. Yeah. Okay, so you do, but rarely. Yeah. Well, an offshoot right there are people who I know who drink a lot of, bottles a day. The most I know is a guy, I won't say his name, who drinks 4 bottles a day. Yeah, I know. I know. I mean, he starts early. He wakes up and starts having wine and then has 4 bottles over the day, I mean, because he's doing nothing. He's retired. Anyway, not important right there. So if you have wine in the refrigerator, red wine, because it'll keep it fresh longer. When you pull it out of the refrigerator, it's 40 degrees. Well, drinking red wine at 4 degrees, you'll get no flavor. It's way too cold. So what do? Well, you can let it sit, but that'd be a long time. I think, as I remember, wine warms up 16 degrees per half hour and cools down 8 degrees per half hour. Like if you put it in the fridge. I'm pretty sure it's rough. I'll have to kind of revisit that, but 16 degrees per half hour. So if you're at 40 and you want to be at 65, you're at 45 minutes or so to wait. I mean, if you're getting up in the middle of the night, you want to go and have a glass of wine, just to kind of, that's way too long to wait. So what you do is you microwave the wine. I know. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. No. And skeptic. So we have a glass of wine. We have 2 glasses. We have this one right here. This is the wine. Well, it's not bad. It's cold. This is right out of the refrigerator, 40 degrees. Let me try some. Why? Well, it's an inexpensive red wine. Doesn't taste bad. Right. It's not bad. Right. No complexity. It's just like drinking grape juice with alcohol. It's fine, and that can be fine. Now, 1 glass of wine. I'm giving this wine to Lynn. Lynn, here. Lynn's going to go microwave the wine for, I'm sorry, my nose is itchy. What do? I'm just trying to, 15 seconds. That's what you do. And Lynn, 10 seconds. Because there wasn't much wine in the glass. Generally, if you have like 5 or 6 ounces of wine, that's what I'm talking about, 15 seconds on high in a microwave will bring the wine temperature from 40 degrees up to 65. Now, depending on the wattage of your microwave, etc., you got to adjust that. But no, it doesn't. Kind of got a itch right there. Should be back in a second. Never heard of that, huh? I know. And people probably want to do that. But you should, because it's 2 key things to help you enjoy wine better. If you don't finish the bottle, you have to refrigerate it. I don't care if you use the vacuum in the little pump stopper, however you want to store it. We'll talk about that later, another video. But regardless, you have to put it in the refrigerator. It really makes a huge difference how long that wine will last. Even if you're not going to save it for a long time, let's say 2 days, even the next day, you'll finish it maybe for dinner or breakfast. The wine will taste better if it was in the fridge versus on the counter. So fridge is a definite. And again, if you do put in the fridge, when you pull it out, it's too cold. So you have to figure out some way, and waiting for 45 minutes is too long for one, and two, if the wine is open and the wine's breathing and that air is getting in touch with it, it makes it degrade faster. All right, here, thanks. All right, here we go. 10 seconds, that's right, because this is not, well, I don't know if that's probably 4 ounces. Taste that. You're damn right that tastes good. Hey. Yeah, that's perfect. And did you see any difference in the, like it wasn't any good or something like that or anything? No, I mean, like you, no. And so that's the way to do it. Yep. So that is our little lesson on the temperature of wine. Hope that you can now adjust. Feel free to, again, drink the wine at any temperature you want, but at least you understand if you go cooler or warmer and try it out. See for yourself instead of just taking my word or Carole and my word for it. So, anyway, thanks for joining us. Hope to see you next time. Good job. Oh, stop it. Leave me alone. What's the big deal? Come on. It's good. It's just me. Come on.